Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Rewind that. It's your girl, Miss K. If this is your first time coming across my channel, welcome. Please be sure to subscribe if you like the vibe and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Tonight we are talking about The Watcher, season 3, guys. I'm sorry, not season 3, episode number 3. So if you've noticed, if you were here last week, we did episode 1. So I have made my notes and everything for episode number 2. So I'm not wasting them. I'm going to do a video recap of that and, put that out there. But I know most of y'all probably already watched the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? So we are going right ahead to episode number 3, and I will get episode 2 to you guys. So we kind of going a little bit backwards, but that's okay because this is Netflix stuff. Okay. So I just want to say hello real quick to Samara, Barney, and Stream Elements. Thank you so much for joining me. All right, guys. So we are going to get into this episode. So in the previous episode, there was a murder okay, and that was between Big Mo and Mitch. All right, so now there's this ongoing investigation, and we have Theodora and Dean, and they're talking about the situation, right? And so, Dean is telling, they're not talking about the total murder with Mo and Mitch right now, but what they're talking about is the meeting that Dean had with Andrew Pierce, right? His story. She's saying that his story with the whole, with the baby, seeing them drinking blood from, another baby and stuff like that was a little, that story cannot be true. The whole cult thing can't be true. So she's like, I don't believe that. And the crazy thing about it is she's the one who sent Mr. Pierce to Dean. And now that Dean is coming back with this story that Andrew was telling him, she's like, I don't know about that. I found out that he's just like a pathological liar. Okay. Like he accused the school principal of, doing something to his child, and come to find out the child didn't even go on a school trip. Okay. So you can't listen to his story. Okay. So then he brings it back to Mitch and Mo and saying that it had to be them where this, the letters is coming from. Right. And she's like, no, I don't know what these guys, I think you're barking up the wrong tree with them. And he said, that's the same thing that Detective Chamberlain said to me, barking up the wrong tree. Now, one thing that I do realize in this series so far is that there are people that are saying the same thing. I said this last week during the episode, the episode 1 live, that somebody said something of the same thing. I think it was, Chamberlain is always saying something that somebody else said. So this is the reason why, you kind of raise a brow to this stuff. Hey, Tina, I raise a brow to certain things. She's connected to Chamberlain, and she says the same thing, barking up the wrong tree. So Dean says, Detective Chamberlain told me the same thing. He said that I'm barking up the wrong tree when it comes to Big Mo and Mitch. And she was like, is he on it? So he was like, is he on the up and up? Because when he went to go see Chamberlain told him barking up the wrong tree. But then he started saying, hey, how's it going with the construction? Like, how's that coming along? You gonna, what I would do? I would make a little man cave. How's that basement coming along? I'd make a little man cave and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, what? Like, what do you care? Why do you care about the Why do you care about the construction? Okay, we're going to put a pin in that because I have made a connection to him and somebody else too, okay? But anyway, in last week's, not last week's episode, I'm sorry, I don't want to say that. In the first episode, it was him, Detective Chamberlain, and Karen saying the same thing with the digging deep, right, to get the house. And so now we have Theodora and Chamberlain saying the same thing, barking up the wrong tree. All right. So bottom line is it's just all weird, and we're definitely going to get back to that whole thing. So now Theodora says that they're barking up the wrong tree because he's barking up the wrong tree because a person with cancer, speaking from experience, this is what she's telling Dean, is they're not worried about, making somebody else's life miserable. They're just basically trying to put their affairs in order and, get things together for the loved ones. And I'm just like, I mean, to be honest, I understand that Theodora, she says that she has cancer and everything, but she really seems to be walking around like somebody very healthy. Like you never really see anything going on with her. So in a way, I'm almost like, I don't know if I even believe this cancer story. Now, guys, remember, if you've seen everything, no spoilers, okay? Just stick to this episode, please, because I don't know what daggone thing. So what I'm doing is I'm just breaking everything up. You know what I'm saying? My boys are coming in the door very loud. So sorry about that. Good morning, Art Love. So yes, Samara says that she agrees it is weird. Yes, indeed. Very, very weird. Thank you very much. All right. So now Theodora is saying, yeah, like I was saying, she seems healthy to me. Okay. So I got my eye on her as well. It's just like everybody on here is suspect. It's not even freaking funny. Okay. So anyway, now Theodora brings up Jasper and she says, I did a little digging myself. It's not totally legal, but I started to wonder if there was a history in this house. So she went to Chamberlain and this is what she said. And he said, oh, like, is this as if he was expecting her to ask this question? So he gave her access to all these files and she found the file on the Graf family who used to live there. Okay. And then they moved out in 1995. Actually, you know what? I'm actually skipping, guys. I'm totally skipping, totally skipping. So Theodora brings up Jasper and she tells Dean that she's done a little digging on Jasper. Now I don't went totally way ahead. Thank God for my notes. So we find out that Jasper had a job at a supermarket for like 23 years. Like he was just going there constantly. This man was a thriving person. Even though he may have some type of developmental disability, he's been thriving. Right. And so in 1995, something happened that caused Jasper to stop coming to work. Nobody knows what it is, but he kind of stopped speaking, like he avoided speaking about the situation. So, so much so that he was diagnosed with elective mutism. Well, actually, he was diagnosed with a schizoid disorder with elective mutism. So, but later in 2001, the diagnosis changed to post-traumatic stress disorder, right? So obviously, if it changed to post-traumatic stress disorder, he saw something, right? Which we're going to find out later on. So now we have the meeting with we're just gonna have to call her creepy Karen, guys. Like she is just creepy. Like the stuff that she does and she says is just like, why would you want a friend like this? You kind of would want to stay away from her. But I kind of get the feeling that every time she says something or opens her mouth, she for some reason has this power to sway Nora. And I don't understand that. I don't know why Nora is not getting creeped out by her instead. Instead, she gets empowered for some weird reason. I don't know. But anyway, they're having a meeting. They just finished playing tennis and Nora is whooping her behind. So when they get in there to sit down and have lunch, Karen tells her, it's kind of like an unwritten rule that, we're not supposed to like demolish our friends in tennis and all that stuff, especially me, blah, blah, blah. All right. So now Karen, she goes into telling Nora that, ever since the problem is that her and Dean are probably not getting enough sex in, and nowadays, because that's what happened in her marriage, and nowadays they've been getting it in. She's been getting it in. She's getting the vitamin D, and her life is just so much better. And so Nora wants to know the juicy details, of course, but this is when Karen says, oh, my lips are sealed, I can't. But she always wants the juice from Nora, but she can't tell the juice, right, who she's screwing. But you decide to tell her, which Nora didn't ask you, but you told. Like, who? That isn't that annoying, guys? Like, somebody brings up something, but then they don't want to say the whole thing. Like, don't be annoying, okay? But anyway, here goes the connection. The thing that I wanted to put a pin in with Detective Chamberlain was that, he says he's asking about the construction. So if you guys notice, like, many of you guys are already you already know, but he talked about the construction, what's going on in the basement, why don't you make a man cave? And then Karen said something about construction, right? So she's like, so she wants to change the subject. But before she changed the subject, she was telling Nora that her and Dean need to be having sex every day, right? And then Nora says, well, I think it's me, since we moved in the house and with all the letters and stuff. And then plus she's not really turned on with Dean lately because of the way he's been riding Ellie. Like, he's always telling her stuff like, don't wear this and don't do this and blah blah blah. And I'm like, you should want your husband to be protective. And then she's like, oh, he's always saying that she's over sexualizing herself, but he's the only one sexualizing her. I just think Nora is very ridiculous when it comes to that part. I mean, but so she's turned off by him now. Like, that's just so stupid. But anyway, so now Karen jumps into, I think he must be having an affair with a younger woman. And I'm just like, this lady is really a hot freaking mess, okay? You know that Nora did not want to hear this, okay? So now Karen changes the subject. And she wants to know about the letters. Like, give me the tea on the letters. She tells Nora that she should take this seriously because Nora is like, no, I just think it's a prank and all this. And then Karen says, no, it's not a prank. It's a messed up situation that you're in and you're living in a freaking nightmare, And so, she's telling her like, listen, you should just, she kind of slipped it in there. I don't know if you guys noticed, you probably seen this a minute ago, but she slipped that in there. You should just do some really quick construction and then just move out. And I'm just like, yo, her and freaking Detective Chamberlain are really in cahoots, it seems like, with the whole like obsession with obstruction, right? I mean, obstruction, yeah, pretty much. Construction, right? Like, do the construction and move. Like, let me list your house, because her next thing is, you should really do some construction real quick and then move out. And then look, I already have a house for you. So she goes and shows her house. And then Nora, she's not really into it. And she's like, it's nice, but it's not the same. You know what I mean? It's not as nice as the house that we live in now. So going back to Detective Chamberlain, he was saying that is what people look for. Like, when they do the basement and they finish doing construction on the house, that's what people are going to be looking for when they want to purchase. And it's like, yo, why are y'all talking about these people selling their homes when they just moved in? Sometimes I wish you guys were watching this with me instead of like y'all pretty much watching me break this thing down, and y'all already know what's going on. I can only imagine what you guys are thinking. She's the friend you don't need. Exactly. I mean, planting negative seeds in her head, all of that stuff. But my theory is that Detective Chamberlain and Karen, they getting it in. Creepy Karen, they are getting it in. She says she don't want to tell who she's getting the vitamin D from. I suspect that it is Detective Chamberlain. Please, no confirmations. Thank you very much. Okay. Now, like I said, she wants to list the house. Okay. Now we get to this young lady who has Dakota in her closet. She's got doors locked. Like, ain't no more locked doors. Like, no locking doors in the house. Okay. Don't do that. And you're 15? She's what, 15 going on 16, or she just turned 16? Like, there's no locking doors. Okay. She got the doors locked. She's over here like, why are you always accusing me? So like, don't you hate that? Somebody that's totally up to something, but they're still keeping the lie alive. Keep the lie alive. Like, you're just keeping the lie alive. knowing daggone well you are up to something, but then gonna have the nerve to have an attitude. She got an attitude with her dad and everything. So I'm like, you're always accusing me, like there's nothing going on. So yeah, meanwhile, young boy is in the closet. Okay. Anyway, Art Love says, have a watch party next week. We watch the next episode at the same time. I would like to do that, Art Love. I just don't know how. Like without like copyright and stuff like that. I don't know how to do that. I'll look into it though, definitely. But thank you for that suggestion. So, she tells the kid to get into, to go out the window and stuff. So she locks the door. The father is like, okay, fine, just relax. Like, I'm just looking for your mom. And she's like, you relax or whatever, right? It's just so stupid. No locking doors. Hell, we couldn't close it. Exactly. No closing. That exactly, Art Love. No closing doors. I'll be having to tell my kids that now. Like, no closing doors. What are you doing? It's just terrible, teenagers, right? So now we have this man's name is John, aka Gino. So we have Mr. John. He's the so-called building inspector. Okay. And he's in the fridge, raiding the freaking fridge. And what's his name comes in? Dean comes in. He's like, hello, who are you? And John says, oh, your wife said that I can make myself at home or whatever. I'm the building inspector. And he's just very weird. So he sits down and he starts talking to Dean. And then he starts talking about this weird stuff like the fourth, almost like I think he said something about the fourth coming. But before that, I can't forget this, because before that he tells Dean that no, he's asking all these questions like, oh, do you have kids? I have 2 kids as well. And then later on he's going to bring up the kids again, but now is when he starts talking about the 80, something that happens every 80 years. Like he's called it the fourth turning, and it's something that happens every 80 years, right? And at the end of every fourth turning is a crisis. And so he says something is about to happen. So he's being real, it's just making things very uncomfortable for this guy, for Dean, because he just doesn't know who the heck this guy is and what he's talking about. All he knows is that he's trying to eat a sandwich and his name is John. Okay. So then later on, a little, just, not too long after this, John gets up and he's like, okay, I'm getting ready to leave, but you need to be careful with your daughter, because I saw her talking to the African-American boy, and they were kind of, close and stuff like that. Of course, Dean was not appreciative of this. And he's like, you know what? I'm really uncomfortable with this. And I'm ready. I want you to go. But before he told him to go, he brought up his own daughter and said that she was like the school whore and stuff. And he said they fixed the problem, but it was traumatic for the whole family. Okay, so John, I'm sorry, not John, Dean goes outside and he's like, excuse me, after he wants this dude to leave, but he must have got extra curious. So he says, how did you fix the problem with your daughter? And he says, well, let's just say she's not wearing like, little, I guess, sweater, any shirts that show her shoulders anymore. Okay. And then that's when they start talking about, maybe you should get your family into church. Back in the days, people were going to church and they could unlock their doors. Now nobody goes to church and you have to lock your doors. It was, very ominous experience, encounter. Like, I wouldn't want somebody like this in my house. Okay. That's just me. All right. So now, because he was very creepy, Dean goes downstairs and he's talking to one of the contractors and he's like, listen, the guy, the inspector, I don't want him at my house again. His name is John, So the guy's like, we don't know any John. There's no inspectors named John in Westfield. So that was another thing that was like, oh my gosh, like what is going on in this freaking house? Okay. So that was that. And then now we get the scene where Nora comes home all hot and bothered because she keeps listening to this friend of hers who's just telling her to sell the house, telling her to screw her man. I mean, everything, just a freaking little puppet master over there. Now, he was ready. Like, he put everything down. He was ready to get it in. But then as they were kissing and stuff like that, he says, wait a minute, I need to go do something with the alarm. I don't know if he wanted to disalarm it or something. I don't know. But he wanted to do something with the alarm. Now, if you guys remember, I think in episode number 2, he was home alone and he was trying to, please himself, right? But the alarm went off and it messed him up or whatever. So while he was, stroking, so I think that kind of gave him a little bit of baby PTSD. And while he was getting ready to play around with his wife, he didn't want no alarm or anything going off. So he was trying to go and make sure things wasn't gonna bother the situation. But she was so upset. Like, he's like, no, baby, just wait there, stay just like that or whatever. She's like, you know what, no, forget about it, this and that. Before this, she was like, I've been wanting this whole time. Well, if you're so hot and bothered and you want it so bad, let him just go turn off the alarm real quick. Like, why are you acting like a freaking brat? Nora really gets on my nerves, guys, just so you know. She really does. All right, let's just move on. So she goes, and now they're going back to the hotel. Ugh, whatever. Anyway, guys, so also before we get to this scene right here, when they were leaving to go back to the hotel, Dean asked Ellie about the guy. All right, like, are you messing with Dakota? Because Dakota is 19 years old and I need to know. She's lying through her freaking teeth. She's not messing with him. Okay, so that's out the way. Now Theodora meets up with Dean and she tells him that she's been wondering if the house had history. This is what I dove into, but way prematurely, guys. Okay, so she's been wondering if the house has a history, and she went to Detective Chamberlain, and that's when he gave her, the access to the files. And then she came across a file with the family Graf. All right, now they lived in the house until 1995. Okay, so she's telling a story about these people. The father's name was John Graf, right? So mind you, at this time, even though she mentioned the name John, Dean is not putting anything together right now. Okay, because I don't know why it didn't raise any questions sooner than it did, because he was talking about church, talking about 2 kids, all of this stuff. But maybe the whole house inspection thing threw him off. I don't know, but here we go. So he lived in the city, and he gets robbed one night and beat up, and he's in the hospital. So his mom came into some money and she put him up. She put him in the house. They bought the house at I forgot what is it, 7 something Boulevard, guys, 767 Boulevard, whatever. I forgot. I totally forgot what that house is, what it's called. So the infamous house. So they move in, but unfortunately, because the mom bought the house, she has to live there too. Isn't that so fun? And so we kind of find out that it's a very dysfunctional family. Like, when Theodora is telling the story, she's saying that his son is the apple of his eye. His wife is a hot mess. She wants to always humiliate him, embarrass him in front of people and stuff like that. And the daughter is slutty. Okay, and he was very concerned about that. Hey, the homie, how are you? All right. So unfortunately, the mom, she was kind of like giving, just putting a lot of pressure on him to ask for a raise or promotion at the job, because he was there for 12 years. He should be running that department, blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately, he winds up getting fired. Okay. And this is him freaking crying, guys. So he doesn't let his family know. Okay. This is very dangerous. Okay. A man who does not share, and I know that a lot of men don't like to share, but especially when we're watching this kind of stuff on TV, and he just kept everything in. He's not even sharing anything with his wife. Like Dean, his wife knows about the letter because the whole family got the letter. You know what I'm saying? But we also do see that Dean had a few secrets going on as far as like with the bankruptcy and stuff like that. We know with that situation, and kind of kept that from his wife, and that can cause problems. But when we see what this man was going through, the secret of him getting fired, the secret of him receiving a letter, like all that stuff is too much. Like you can't be carrying all that kind of stuff by yourself, because look what wound up freaking happening. Okay, like some people do it to themselves or they do it to others. All right. And you know what I'm talking about. There's certain things that I'm realizing I can't say during my live because it will not get monetized. All right. No, this show is new. And it's on Netflix, the homie. It's new on Netflix. Very good show. All right. So here's what he's doing. He's an accountant. So he has, he deals with all of the stuff. Like he handles the finances for the family. Right. So he has access to his mom's funds. So what he's doing is every now and then first of all, he's pretending to go to work every day and to go and come home. And then he goes to the bank and he takes out what he needs to pay the mortgage and to pay the bills of the house to make it seem like this guy is still working. It's crazy. And then finally one day he comes home and he receives a letter. And so now in this letter, the watcher tells him that he knows where the daughter goes at night. Okay, the watcher, I've been watching your house for so long. Isn't his voice creepy? All right, there's a voice that he reminds me of. I can't remember. I don't think it's is it the Saw voice a little bit? Is it, guys? I don't know. All right, so anyway, he talks about young blood, just like he told the other family, young blood. And young blood is what the house desires. Okay, and like I said, he doesn't tell anybody about these letters. All right, so Dean interrupts the situation. So Dean wants to know, I'm kind of going ahead. Dean interrupts Theodora telling the story, and he wants to know why no one has, no, he wants to know if John was always like this, because John started kind of like, freaking out, yelling and all that. He also came home and found his daughter. It was supposed to be a Halloween party, guys, but we only saw the daughter dancing with the teacher. So it was like, what the heck kind of Halloween party is that? And he flips out on the daughter, and the mom comes in like, what are you doing? Like, it's not a big deal. And he says, somebody is watching. So he flips out about that. And so Dean interrupts Theodora telling the story, and he says, was he always like this, or did the house make him like that? So Theodora was like, I don't believe in that kind of stuff. And she says that John was living a lie. And so, and the watcher knew that, right? And played on that. Okay, so now as we see, he gets another letter, and the house is the watcher is just saying, why don't you just give the house what it wants? Your family will be in a better place, and you will get whatever you want. So it's almost like offering your soul to the devil type of thing, or making a sacrifice and stuff like that. And you're gonna get whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? So that was a little. So now here comes his terrible wife. Like, she's the only one I didn't feel sorry for. Like, she was just disgusting and terrible, just for no reason. It seems like, it doesn't even, I don't even understand how somebody who like her got with someone like him. I don't even get it. So anyway, she's talking all this trash, saying, I'm having an affair. And she said, oh no, I'm about to have an affair. And he said, stop talking. So he comes behind her and just boom, blast. Okay. And that was that. The mom is upstairs like, John, what was that noise? Next thing you know, he going upstairs and boom, he blasts the mom. Okay. Then looky guys, in episode 1, we had Dean's nasty daughter, Ellie, going into the medicine cabinet and getting somebody's lipstick. She didn't even know who the heck it belonged to. Okay. Come to find out, it belongs to this girl, a dead girl. And we know that somebody lived in this house. It was Andrew Pierce and his wife. Why is the lipstick still there when the Grafs were not the last family before the Bannermans, or whatever the heck their names are? I already forgot their daggone names from last week. But anyway, here you see John in the back, right, through the reflection in the mirror. Boom. Takes her out. Now, this to me was the saddest part. He actually goes downstairs before he goes to his son's game. He eats a sandwich. And then he goes to his son's game. And then later on, he shoots him and kills him. So that was pretty sad to me. All right. I also forgot to tell you guys that before he did all this, at dinner, he was telling his family that they should, basically repent and everything because they're all going to die soon. But he didn't say they were going to die. He said, we're all going to die soon. And he was like, and I want to, so make it right, make everything right, acknowledge your sins, because I want us to be able to see each other in heaven. I want to see you guys again. Right. And so, after that, that's when he starts making plans, calling the principal and everything, saying, the kids are not going to be at school for a little while and all of this stuff. So after he, does what he does to the family, off the family, he goes to play music on the intercom. And that's where we get the title of the episode, Gotterdammerung. Hold on, let me make sure, because I already forgot what the episode is called. It has to be some type of Gotterdammerung. I'm pretty sure I'm not saying it that good. But that has to be some type of what's that like German or something, right? So anyway, right, he's playing this music, and while Theodora is telling Dean the story, he says, I know that song. I know that sounds familiar. So this is the music that everybody keeps on hearing throughout this house. So now I'm starting to realize, to me, this is what I'm thinking, that this house is haunted, because it's just too weird. Like, why would music be playing? But then again, people can get into the house, as we saw with Jasper just going right up into the house, right? And there's secret tunnels and all that stuff. So I don't know yet. So the music is what Jasper hears, and he goes inside and there's a smell, and he finds the bodies. Now the bodies were drained of blood. Okay. And unfortunately, it was there for like 2 weeks. Nobody found these bodies. It was there for like 2 weeks. And when they go downstairs into the basement, the infamous basement that everybody's talking about, everybody wants the basement to be done over and all that crap. So the vials that had all the blood in it were empty. And this kind of goes back into what Andrew Pierce was saying about the blood sacrifices and stuff like that. So clearly, and then the letters, they keep talking about new blood all the time. So you would think that this is true, that Andrew is not lying. So, but I don't know. Okay, so Theodora. Oh, also, guys, the teacher wound up being dead. So that was something. Like, he was the teacher that was dancing with the daughter. Like 3 days after the murders in the house, the teacher was found dead in his car. So he didn't let that teacher get away with anything, but they said it was a different gun and all that stuff. So now Dean wants to know why, right? Why hasn't anyone told him about this story and with his family and stuff? So Theodora says, well, maybe the police were trying to cover it up and stuff. So also Theodora was saying that how nobody was at the the house was still being watched after the murders, but the mail wasn't piling up, right? I mean, like, John never switched over. He never stopped the mail from coming. Like, how when you move, you change your mail, all of that. John never did that. And the mail kept coming, but it wasn't piling up. So somebody kept coming to get the mail and all that. Like, it's just so weird. It's crazy, and I cannot wait to finish it. Hopefully I can try to finish it this weekend, because I'm kind of tired of not knowing what the heck is going on and knowing that you guys know. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Dean wants to know what happened to John Graf, and Theodora is just like, nobody knows, and remember, before John killed his family, he was cutting his face out of all of the family pictures. So nobody would know how to place this guy. So this is the reason why he could kind of just show up in the house and use his first name like it ain't nothing still, right? And say, I'm the inspector. just like that, because nobody's going to be able to pinpoint nothing. But this is the time when Dean is finally trying to piece everything together, like, wait a minute, what church does he go to and stuff like that. And then he's like, I saw him or whatever, right? So now he goes frantically to Jasper's house, and Jasper opens the door, and Jasper immediately wants to close it because he sees Dean, and Dean has threatened him, so he's kind of scared. So then he's like, what do you know about John Graf? Can you tell me? And you can tell that Jasper knows some things, but he doesn't want to talk about it. You saw his face, how he looked when he mentioned his name, when Dean mentioned his name. Then the sister comes to the door, and she's like, you stay away from him. And yeah. Oh, we're really going to be on you about that dumbwaiter. I'm telling you, she's another one who gets on my nerves, okay? Oh, we're going to be on you about that dumbwaiter, and you're going to see we're going to be able to come in there anytime we want to. And Dean is like, what are you talking? No, you cannot come in there anytime you want. Yes, we can. You'll read it and you'll see. And I'm like, what kind of house is this that somebody buys that people are so invested in a freaking dumbwaiter? You're calling it like some type of what does she call it? Some type of monumental, whatever the heck she calls it. And she's so obsessed with it, and to the point where you can go into these people's house anytime you want to. I'm telling you, it's so annoying to me. It's so annoying. If there is a house like that, that's just a total nightmare. Like, that's people can come into your house and everything. What kind of house is that? And why wouldn't people let you know that, this is what you're buying? You have to know that this is what you're buying. Anyway, I'm so tired of this chick. Okay, so guys, the family, they move back into the house, and Nora is like, oh, I think we made a good decision. We did good, right? We made a good decision staying here. And she's happy with how everything looks. And Dean is taking the kids to school, and she's just ready to have a good freaking day. She's waving bye to her family. She goes out to check the mail, and boom, here we go. We get another letter. And the letter is talking about how they see you got cameras everywhere. But, it's not going to keep you safe. You can't be safe from the world. I'm still watching. And that is how the episode ended, guys. Okay. I have to be honest. I did see, what is episode 3? I did see episode 4. Okay. And that's it. I saw episode 4, and that's it. I didn't see anything else. What do I have? 4 more episodes to go after that. So hopefully this weekend I can catch up. All right. I'm hoping. But what do you guys think of this episode? I mean, let me know. I'm about to get out of here. Please stay tuned for episode number 2. I'm sorry, I got to go backwards real quick before we move on to episode number 5. Thank you guys so much for being here. I know that you guys are listening because you guys are kind of like, mum's the word right now, because maybe you don't want to give me any spoilers. But thank you, Samara, for being here. Stream Elements, Tina, Art Love, and the homie. Thank you so much. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Until next time, you guys take care and be blessed, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.